Hey guys, it's Melanie. Welcome to my channel. Today I have my October book outlet haul part 1 for you. So stay tuned. Okay, so as you can see, I have a lot of boxes of book outlet books. I'm so excited. Oh my goodness. But there's so many here that there's no way I'm even going to be able to break this into 2 videos. I've decided, because there are 12 boxes here. Yes, there are 12 boxes of books here, that I'm going to split this into 4 parts. So each part I will unbox 3 boxes of books. Oh goodness. It's gonna be fun. Okay, so let's just get started. So I think I'll just start with this box in my lap here because it was too high to fit up above the rest. So got my receipt here, and then we got some paper. Okay, so the first book in this box is Sekret by Lindsay Smith. And it says here, an empty mind is a safe mind. And this is based in Russia, and it's about a girl named Julia who has the ability to read people's minds just by touching them. And she is forced into the KGB to work for them to protect the Soviet space program from American spies. And this book was 59 cents. Okay, next up is Wonderkid by Wesley Stage. And this is about a group of kids that formed this rock band. They called themselves the Wonderkids. But then they make it big and they're forced to stay a children's rock band. Kind of like Kids Bop. And it comes with a lot of problems. And it is said to be like the movie Almost Famous, but through a looking glass. And this was $1.79. Okay, I've got to move this camera closer so I can actually show you the books a little easier. Okay, that's better. So the next thing in this box is actually a box set, and it is huge. There are 15 books in here. This is the Eyre Konigsburg Collection. So I think it's like everything that he's written. So there's From the Mixed Up Files of Miss Basil E. Frankweiler, Jennifer Hackett Macbeth, William McKinley, and me, Elizabeth. The View from Saturday, The Outcasts of 19 Schuler Place, Silent to the Bone, A Proud Taste for Scarlet and Miniver, Journey to an 800 Number, My Father's Daughter, The Mysterious Edge of the Heroic World, The Second Miss Gioconda, George, About Benai Bagels, T-Backs, T-Shirts, Coat and Suit, Throwing Shadows, and Up from Jericho Tell. And it says, the beloved, celebrated, and timeless works of 2-time Newbery Medal winner E.L. Konigsburg. And I ended up getting this for Xander because I can't remember which book it was, but there was a book or 2 in here that was on a list that I wanted Xander to read. And so I got him this whole set. They're all middle grade, and I think that he would really enjoy these. Plus they aren't too huge, so it's the kind of size that I think he would like. And this set was $33.14, but it was also 15 books. So for all 17 books here, the subtotal was $35.52. I used a $20 reward, and I paid $15.52 for all 17 of these. Okay, let's go over a big one now. Ugh. Open this up. We got some paper. 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 I'm gonna have a room full of paper when this is all done. Got my receipt here. Lots of books in this box. Okay, the first book in this box is The Kept Woman by Karen Slaughter. And I didn't realize it at the time when I ordered this, but apparently this is part of a series. I'm not sure if this is a book you can read by itself or if you need to read the other books first. If you know, please comment down below and let me know. But apparently this is number 8 in the Will Trent series, and I've pulled it up here on Goodreads, what it says about the whole series. The Will Trent series takes place in Atlanta and features GBI Special Agent Will Trent, his partner Faith Mitchell, and Angie Pulaski. The first 2 books in the series are Triptych and Fractured. Later, Sarah Linton from the Grant County series joins the series and also appears in Undone, Broken, Fallen, Snatched, a novella, and Criminal. So it's like murder, mystery kind of thing. And this was $3.19. Okay, next up is Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. And this says, Sisters, Strangers, Survivors. It's been more than 20 years since Claire and Lydia last spoke. Claire is the glamorous trophy wife of an Atlanta millionaire. Lydia, a single mother dating an ex-con, struggles to make ends meet. But neither has recovered from the disappearance of their sister Julia 2 decades earlier, and the shocking murder of Claire's husband brings the horror and heartbreak of the past roaring back into their lives. The vanishing of a teenage girl and the killing of a middle-aged man, almost a quarter-century apart. What could connect them? As they form a wary truce, the surviving sisters unearth the secrets that destroyed their family all those years ago, and find the astonishing truth where they least expect it. And this was $4.79. Okay, next up is a collection of poetry called How Did This Happen? Poems for the Not So Young Anymore, edited by Mary D. Eiselman and Elizabeth Ash Velez. And it's a thinking woman's guide to growing older. And this was $5.89. Okay, next up is Breathe by Sarah Crossan. This says, the world has no air. Ever since the switch, when the oxygen levels plummeted and most of humanity died, the survivors have been protected in a glass dome full of manufactured air. If you want to live, you pay to breathe. But what if you can't pay? And what if you think everything could be different? Elaine is a revolutionary who believes the resistance can save the environment, can break free, and she's on her first mission. Quinn's a premium who's never had to worry about having enough air. His best friend, Bay, is an auxiliary who's never worried about anything but having enough air. When all 3 cross paths and walk into the Outlands with 2 days worth of oxygen in their tanks, everything they believe will be shattered. And I thought this sounded really, really good. And it's also the first book in a series. And this was $2.19. Okay, next up is Between the Blade and the Heart, Valkyrie Book 1 by Amanda Hocking. And I just thought this is so pretty. And it says, Game of Thrones meets Blade Runner in this YA fantasy inspired by Norse mythology. When the fate of the world is at stake, loyalties will be tested. As one of Odin's Valkyries, Malin Krygeri's greatest responsibility is to slay immortals and return them to the underworld. But when she unearths a secret that could unravel the balance of all she knows, Malin, along with her best friend and ex-girlfriend, must decide where their loyalties lie, and if helping the blue-eyed boy Asher enact his revenge is worth the risk, to the world and her heart. And this was $3.79. Okay, next up is The Geography of You and Me by Jennifer E. Smith. And this is about a girl named Lucy who lives on the 24th floor of her apartment building in New York City, and Owen, who lives in the basement. And they end up meeting in the middle, trapped on an elevator when the power goes out. They spend all this time in the elevator together. They really seem to have some kind of connection, but then when the power comes back on, their lives kind of go in 2 different directions, where Lucy's family moves abroad, Owen's family moves out west, and they try to do the long distance kind of thing where they're sending postcards and emails and phone calls, and they're just trying to figure out how they could possibly reunite. And it sounded really cute. And this was $3.19. Okay, next is a trilogy by Erica Johansson, and that is The Queen of the Tearling, The Invasion of the Tearling, and The Fate of the Tearling. So this is the first, this one's the second, and this one's the third in the trilogy. So I pulled up on Goodreads what it says as sort of an overview of the whole trilogy. And this says, a female-oriented fantasy that is also an insightful human story whose heroine is grappling with both the daily realities of coming of age and the ethical dilemmas of ruling justly, all while simply trying to stay alive. The story is set 3 centuries after a small portion of the human race has populated a landmass that mysteriously emerged in the wake of an environmental catastrophe. The series follows 19-year-old Princess Kelsia Glenn, who must reclaim her deceased mother's throne and redeem her kingdom, the Tearling, from forces of corruption and dark magic of the Red Queen, the sorceress tyrant of the neighboring country, Mortsani. This was $3.79. This one was $5.39. And this one was $4.79. Okay, next up is a graphic novel by Dean Koontz. It's In Odd We Trust, which is part of the Odd Thomas series. And Odd Thomas, well, he can see dead people. And that's pretty much what that whole series is about. But this is actually a graphic novel, which I thought was really cool. So I thought I would check it out because, well, I love Dean Koontz. And this was $5.39. So I missed that this one was in the box with Breathe, but it is the sequel to Breathe by Sarah Crossan. And this was $2.19. So the next book is actually a graphic novel, and this is one that I've heard G over at Book Roast mention many, many times, and that is Lock and Key by Joe Hill and Gabrielle Rodriguez. Welcome to Lovecraft. And well, I just thought I would check it out. It's a very like gray, dark kind of things. It says, Lock and Key tells of Key House, an unlikely New England mansion with fantastic doors that transform all who dare to walk through them, and home to a hate-filled and relentless creature that will not rest until it forces open the most terrible door of them all. Sounds interesting. Sounds like a good spooky Halloween-y kind of read. This was $7.99. Okay, next is The Great Global Bucket List by Robin Esrock, one-of-a-kind travel experiences. And it's just a bunch of different things to do all over the world. And I personally want to go all over the world. So this is cool. There's stuff for every country. Explore the Amazon in style in Peru. And this was $5.89. Okay, next up is One by Sarah Crossan. And this is about two 16-year-old girls named Grace and Tippy, and they are conjoined twins. They're joined at the waist, and they're like everything to each other. But Grace has a secret that she doesn't want to admit even to Tippy, and this is about them having to face some really difficult choices. And this was $3.19. Okay, next up is Cinderella's Shoes by Shauna Slayton. So I didn't realize that this was part of a series, well, a duology, and this is the second book. So I've pulled up on Goodreads what it says about the first book. So the first book is called Cinderella's Dress, and it says, being a teenager during World War II is tough. Finding out you're the next keeper of the real Cinderella's dress is even tougher. Kate simply wants to create window displays at the department store where she's working, trying to help out with the war effort. But when long-lost relatives from Poland arrive with a steamer trunk they claim holds the Cinderella's dress, life gets complicated. Now with the father missing in action, her new sweetheart shipped off to boot camp, and her great-aunt losing her wits, Kate has to unravel the mystery before it's too late. After all, the descendants of the wicked stepsisters will stop at nothing to get what they think they deserve. Sounds really cute. And this is the second book, and it was $4.79. Okay, next up is Wish You Were Eyre by Heather Vogel Frederick. And this is the 6th book in the Mother-Daughter Book Club. But the other books you will see in other boxes. So these are all kind of retellings in a way where it's a Mother-Daughter Book Club and they're reading whatever the book is. In this case, it was Jane Eyre. But it's also a retelling at the same time because their lives are what's in that book at that time. So the first book is Little Women, and yeah, it's just classic books like that, and I think it's really cute. So this is Wish You Were Eyre, and it was $3.19. And then the last book in this box is another graphic novel, and it's called Spell on Wheels by Kate Leth, Megan Levins, and Marissa Louise. And it looks really cute. I like the art style here. So this says, a road trip story, a magical revenge fantasy, a sisters over misters tale of 3 witches out to get back what was taken from them. Andy, Jolene, and Claire aren't your average 20-somethings. They're legacy witches making their way through a modern world. When a jealous non-magical ex breaks into their home and steals a spell that could awaken potentials with magic powers, the witches plan their revenge. Traveling down the East Coast, they must retrieve their powerful stolen artifacts and strengthen their friendship, because the big bad is even worse than they imagined. And this, okay, I know it's witches, but a lot of the little things that they were talking about, like the big bad and the spell that's awakening the potentials, this really gave me like Buffy vibes when Willow cast the spell to awaken all the potential slayers and, well, obviously the big bad. And yeah, I think this one's gonna be a lot of fun. And I just randomly came across this one. I was like, oh, that looks really neat. So this was $6.39. Okay, so let me tell you the cost of all of these books. So the subtotal was $76.03, but this is during their buy more, save more sale. So because it was over $75, I got $20 off, which brought me down to $56.03. And then I used $20 in rewards. So I got all 17 of these books for $36.03. Okay, one more box for this video and then I'll have to start a new video. We'll go with the small box this time. We got some paper and some paper and my receipt. Okay, next up is 2 books that are part of a series. I actually have the first book on our shelf already. And this is book 2 and 4. So we have The Land of Stories, The Enchantress Returns, and Beyond the Kingdoms by Chris Colfer. And the first book is called The Wishing Spell. And it's about these twins, Alex and Connor, and they magically end up in their book of stories where they get to go through like all these awesome adventures from the stories they've grown up to and they love, and they get to experience all of it. But then getting home is a problem. And it's just a bunch of like fairy tale retelling kind of things. I'm not sure which fairy tale this one is. Oh, I think it's Wizard of Oz is this fairy tale retelling. And this one is like Sleeping Beauty. And well, you know how I feel about fairy tale retellings. Love them so much. So this one was $4.29 and this one is $3.79. Sorry if there was an angle change, but my battery died. Okay, so next up we have The Red Queen, The Chronicles of Alice by Christina Henry. And this is the second book in the Chronicles of Alice. The first book is called Alice. And, well, it's an Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass retelling. So, I'm not going to tell you about this one, but I can tell you about Alice, which I have on my shelf over there somewhere. So I pulled it up here on Goodreads, and it says, in a warren of crumbling buildings and desperate people called the Old City, there stands a hospital with cinder block walls which echo the screams of the poor souls inside. In the hospital, there is a woman. Her hair, once blonde, hangs in tangles down her back. She doesn't remember why she's in such a terrible place. Just a tea party long ago, and long ears, and blood. Then one night, a fire at the hospital gives the woman a chance to escape, tumbling out of the hole that imprisoned her, leaving her free to uncover the truth about what happened to her all those years ago. Only something else has escaped with her. Something dark. Something powerful. And to find the truth, she will have to crack this beast to the very heart of the old city, where the rabbit waits for his Alice. Ugh! I can't wait to read those. Now that I have them both, I'm so excited. And this was $4.79. Okay, next up we have Dreamfall by Amy Plum. And this is about 7 kids who all suffer from severe insomnia, and they end up volunteering for an experiment that has never been tried before. And just as they're all going under, some catastrophe strikes and they are stuck in this dreamland that really it turns into more of a nightmare, where all of their fears and their secrets and everything comes out, and well, they have to face it, and they have to face it all together, or they have no hope of ever waking up. And this was $4.29. Okay, next up we have The Rest of Us Just Live Here by Patrick Ness. And this says, a bold and irreverent novel that powerfully reminds us that there are many different types of remarkable. What if you aren't the chosen one? The one who's supposed to fight the zombies, or the soul-eating ghosts, or whatever the heck this new thing is with the blue lights and the death? What if you're like Mikey, who just wants to graduate and go to prom and maybe finally work up the courage to ask Henna out before someone goes and blows up the high school again? Because sometimes there are problems bigger than this week's end of the world, and sometimes you just have to find the extraordinary in your ordinary life, even if your best friend is worshipped by mountain lions. And this just sounds amazing, and I can't wait to read it. And this was $3.19. Okay, next up is Whatever Life Throws at You by Julie Cross. And this is about a girl named Annie Lucas who has to move to Missouri, and she's not thrilled about it because her dad just took a job as a major league pitching coach for the Kansas City Royals. And she's having to go to an all-girl school. She's also not thrilled about that. And she kind of has the hots for this rookie pitcher that's very much off limits, with not a great reputation. And this was 79 cents. Okay, so this next book was not something I was expecting to come from this author. Because, well, some of the books that he's written, we have Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Matilda, James and the Giant Peach, The BFG. Okay, just to name a couple. And then this book is called Switch Bitch. And, well, it is 4 tales of seduction and suspense. And it is erotic. Definitely would not have expected that from him. But okay then. It's short too. Like Only 182 pages. And this was $5.39. Okay, next up we have Moxie by Jennifer Matthew. And this says, Moxie girls fight back. Vivian Carter is fed up. Fed up with her small town Texas high school where the football team can do no wrong. Fed up with sexist dress codes and hallway harassment. But most of all, Viv Carter is fed up with always following the rules. Viv's mom was a punk rock riot girl in the 90s. So now Viv takes a page from her mother's past and creates a feminist zine that she distributes anonymously to her classmates. She's just blowing off steam, but other girls respond. Pretty soon, Viv is forging friendships with young women across the divides of cliques and popularity rankings, and she realizes that what she has started is nothing short of a girl revolution. Moxie is a book about high school life that will make you want to riot. And this was $4.79. Okay, and then the last book in this box is Slasher Girls and Monster Boys, stories selected by April Genevieve Tucolt, and they're stories written by Stephen Bachman, Kendar Blake, Jay Kristoff, Jonathan Mayberry, Carrie Ryan, Nova Rensuma, April Genevieve Tucolt, Lee Bardugo, A.G. Howard, Marie Liu, Danielle Page, Megan Shepard, McCormick Templeman, and Kat Winters. And I have heard Kayla over at Books and Lala mention that she really likes this, and it's, well, an anthology of psychological thrillers. And, well, she likes thrillers, so for her to say that this is a good book, to me, I think it's going to be really good. And this was $3.79. So the subtotal for these 9 books was $35.11, and I used $20 in rewards, so I paid $15.11. Alright, so that is all for part 1. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, click that subscribe button down below. And until next time, remember to always be completely you.